There comes a moment in life, often quiet, often unnoticed, when the weight of the world doesn't crush you from the outside, but from the inside. You show up every day. You smile when you're expected to. You keep going because that's what you're supposed to do. But deep within, something feels misaligned. Like your soul is out of rhythm. Like joy is just out of reach. You're tired, but not the kind of tired that sleep can fix. You're spiritually exhausted. You long for peace, but your thoughts race. You crave meaning, but your days blur together. And in that hidden place, where emotions are tangled and clarity feels distant, there is one thing that can pull you back into alignment. Worship. Not the performance, not the Sunday routine, but the kind of worship that rises from your knees when your heart is shattered. The kind of worship that declares, I trust, even when life doesn't make sense. That is where your soul starts breathing again. That's where realignment begins. Worship isn't just what you do when you feel inspired. It's what you choose when you feel confused. It's not about having the right words. It's about having the right posture. You may not feel strong. You may not feel worthy. But when you worship anyway, when you lift your eyes above your feelings and fix them on the one who is constant, something powerful happens. You stop reacting to life, and you start responding from truth. Worship becomes your weapon against despair, against anxiety, against spiritual numbness. It reminds your spirit who's still in control, who's still near, who's still moving. And more than that, it becomes your covering, a shield for your mind, your emotions, your identity. Worship shifts the atmosphere not just around you, but within you. It doesn't always change your situation, but it changes how you walk through it. It plants peace where there was panic. It makes space for hope where there was heaviness. And if you let it, worship will become your rhythm. A daily realignment, a sacred recalibration. Because this journey, it will require more than endurance. It will require intimacy. And worship is the language of intimacy. And then there's healing, not the kind you post about, but the kind that happens in silence. Most people won't notice it. They'll see you smile and assume you're fine. But inside, there's a quiet revolution taking place. You're learning how to breathe again without fear. You're discovering what it feels like to hope without bracing for disappointment. You're starting to believe that peace is possible without pain lurking around the corner. That's not just emotional growth. That's spiritual healing. There was a time when you were in survival mode. Every day felt like a battle just to stay afloat. Your body stayed tense. Your mind stayed guarded. You didn't even realize how much you were carrying until it started to lift. But now something is shifting. You're no longer preparing for the worst. You're learning to rest in the best. You're learning that joy doesn't have to be borrowed or temporary. That peace doesn't have to be earned. That love doesn't have to be suspicious. This is what happens when your inner world begins to heal. Your reactions change. You stop shrinking when good things come. You stop questioning every blessing. You stop believing that stability is a trap. And you begin to walk open-hearted again, not recklessly, but freely. You begin to receive without guilt. You begin to enjoy without shame. You begin to live, not just survive. That shift, that's sacred. That's Jesus reaching into your nervous system, your deepest fears, your unconscious patterns, and saying, I want you whole. And you don't have to fix yourself before receiving it. Healing begins when you stop pretending you don't need it. When you allow love to touch the places you've hidden. When you surrender your need to control and allow peace to become your default posture. That's when the inner storm calms. That's when the weight truly lifts. Not because life suddenly becomes perfect, but because you no longer live like a prisoner waiting for something to go wrong. You live like someone who knows you're safe now. You're held now. You're remembered now. And when you've realigned your soul in worship, and when healing has begun to take root within you, you will begin to hear something deeper. A whisper, a nudge, a divine invitation. Not a test, not a performance, but a prompting, an urge to move, not because you have all the answers, but because you trust the one who's asking. This is where obedience comes in. And not the kind that's forced or fearful, but the kind that flows from love. There are things you'll be asked to do in this season, not to prove yourself, but to step into who you truly are. It might be a difficult conversation, a leap of faith, a door to close, a habit to release, a vision to build, and you won't always understand why. But here's the truth. Clarity doesn't always come before obedience. Sometimes it comes after. And the longer you delay, the foggier you feel. That's not punishment. It's just the nature of sensitivity. Every time you obey quickly, you sharpen your spiritual clarity. You tune in. You become more sensitive to direction, more aligned with purpose. There's a shift happening in your life, not just in the obvious things, but in the hidden spaces. The people around you are changing. Some friendships are fading without conflict. Some new faces are showing up with unexpected warmth. And you're wondering why. Why now? Why them? What's happening to the relationships you once depended on to feel seen, heard, safe? Let me tell you, God is realigning your relationships, not because something is wrong, but because something is right. Growth always brings movement. And when your calling expands, so does your circle. It's not rejection, it's realignment. You are not losing people. You are making space for the ones who match your next season. And yes, it can feel lonely at first. But loneliness is not the same as isolation. Sometimes it's preparation. Sometimes it's God clearing the noise so you can hear the right voices. You see, He's bringing people into your life who carry the same frequency of purpose. People who speak His language, who carry His presence, who call out the gold in you when all you see is dust. Some of them will stretch you. Their words will challenge you. Their presence will require you to grow. Others will refresh you. They won't ask you to perform. They'll just love you back to life. And some will confront you, not to condemn, but to sharpen. Don't run from these people. Don't resist the discomfort. Relationships that come from God won't always feel convenient, but they will feel aligned. And just as He brings new people in, He may allow others to drift. Not because they're bad, not because you failed, but because you've outgrown what once sustained you. There are connections that served your survival, but can't sustain your destiny. Let them go without guilt. Bless them without bitterness. You don't have to force what God is making space in. Trust that your circle will reflect where you're going, not just where you've been. But all of this, new doors, new relationships, new opportunities, comes with a warning. Stay humble. Don't let favor fool you. Don't let fruit make you forget your roots. You prayed for this season. You cried for this clarity. You waited for this breakthrough. But now that it's here, don't let it become about you. Jesus never elevated pride. He crushed it. He didn't teach people to chase attention. He taught them to carry their cross. And in your eyes, don't lose your reverence. Don't trade your surrender for status. The more He opens, the more He wants your heart to bow, not from shame, but from love. Keep Him at the center. Keep your posture soft. Stay dependent, not desperate. There's a difference. Desperation says, I have to earn this. Dependence says, I trust you with all of this. Humility keeps your heart pure. It keeps your motives clean. It keeps your eyes fixed, not on the applause, but on the assignment. Now you are thriving. You're not bracing for loss anymore. You're standing in blessing. You're not apologizing for your presence. You're stepping into your purpose. You are not disqualified. You are not second choice. You are not late. You are not forgotten. You are remembered. You are seen. You are chosen. Not because you always got it right, but because God never got it wrong when He called you. And now you walk differently. You speak with more authority, not arrogance, but confidence. You forgive quicker. You lead from peace. You love boldly. You release the need to prove yourself because you know who you belong to. You no longer need the crowd's applause because you were affirmed in the quiet. You no longer strive for worth because your identity is rooted in grace. The lies from the wilderness no longer own you. You are not too much. You are not too broken. You are not too late. Those words were born from wounds, not from truth. And now, the voice that matters most is rewriting them. Not with noise, but with clarity. Not with judgment, but with love. You're not just coming out of hiding. You're being revealed. Not in pride, but in purpose. Not to impress, but to impact. You're stepping into the fullness of what has always been inside you. Even when you couldn't see it. Even when you doubted it. You carry light. You carry healing. You carry heaven's imprint. And you don't need a spotlight to be powerful. You've been hidden long enough, refined long enough, faithful long enough. Now it's time. So walk forward, not in fear, but in faith. Speak, not to be heard, but to bring life. Stand tall, not to dominate, but to build. You are not random. You are not average. You are not forgotten. You are remembered. And now, your life becomes the evidence of what it looks like when heaven remembers someone, not for their perfection, but for their perseverance. And if anyone dares to ask, who do you think you are? You answer boldly, not with arrogance, but with conviction. I am chosen. I am ready. I am remembered. And I know who I am now.